To make a good video on YouTube, you need a good story to go along with good visuals. And I'm going to tell you a story from what I know. I used to do reports on gunfighters because they were interesting and I learned a lot of things. They were a lot different than the movies portray. Back in the day, and I'm going to discuss this gentleman right here, John Wesley Hardin. He reportedly gunned down 50 people, and he lived through all that. But back in 1877, which would have been 12 years after the Civil War, which we lost 653,000 men, the South was destroyed and Reconstruction was starting. Well, it was pretty lawless back then. And the Federals, who'd won, sent a lot of black troops down to Texas, and that's where Hardin was from. And I guess at that time, in their point of view, that was made them very upset. Anyway, Hardin was a young man, and a black guy grabbed his horse and stopped him from riding down a road, and Hardin told him to let go, and the black guy wouldn't, so Hardin shot him 3 times with the .45. That was his first kill. Then the Federals sent 3 troops after him to make him pay, and what Hardin did was interesting because Hardin didn't run. John Wesley Hardin, as a young man, went looking for these 3 troops. He killed 2 of them and wounded 1, I believe. And that was the start of his career, as it would be. The thing about John Wesley and a lot of these gallery of gunfighters is that he got better as he went along. And this was one of the guns that he used. This is an old gun of mine. It's an 1877 DA-41 Thunder. This gun was also photographed with Billy the Kid. This was one of his guns. This was a working gun. They made 177,000 of them. Back in the day, it didn't come with pearl grips. Like I said, the springs are all shot. It's never been fired in my lifetime. Back in the day, when this was bought, it was probably $5 to buy this. And these grips are absolutely beautiful on here. They're all molded in here. Just, I don't know how they did it. But this particular model, if you went to buy it from a gunsmith, it would be $15, since it was nickel plated and it had the grips, and that was considered a lot of money back then. But as you note, and I've been playing around with it here, if you put your finger right here, and I've been doing my best Wild West twist here, trying to keep the camera steady, and whoops, I guess I'm just getting too old for this, but it's got a beautiful balance. I can see how someone would pull it out of their holster and use it. John Wesley, the interesting part of him is he wasn't a sadistic person that would just go out and fight for no reason. He always said in his memoirs that he didn't kill anyone that didn't deserve it, that didn't cross him. He was arrested twice with lawmen getting a drop on him, and he managed to get their guns and kill 1 or 2 of them and escape. And his creed was that if someone threatened him, he would take care of it. Because that's the way it was back then. If a man slapped you in the face, that was considered a deadly threat. So you had to take care of that deadly threat. Now, why they thought that way, I don't know. But then again, they did not have electricity. They did not have MTV. All they had was socializing. So a man's word was very, very important back then. And if a man said that he's going to come look for you, that is probably means it was a threat. So Hardin would go and find that threat. I think he was shot a couple times too. But the point is, if you're making a video, you don't need fancy lighting. I've used this couch. It's a leather couch, and it kind of fits in with the Old West deal. And I'm sitting here in my house with the my whole back area here is all windows. And of course, we got my cat. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Furball. He's a nice cat. He's still a young cat, though. Teenager. But if you have a good story and good visuals, then you're going to make a good video. But you don't need to have a script. You don't need to have fancy prearranged things. If you just use a simple camera right here, like I'm shaking, and if you have something interesting to talk about, I just love the way this is made. It's missing a couple screws, but I think it's worth several $1,000s if it were fixed up. And I think I may fix it up and then sell it. It's a nice piece, but I don't get into these things at all. I mean, it's beautiful, but I'd rather have the money and do something else with it. But if you have a good story and you talk about it and it's interesting, then people will watch, and it can be about anything. So grab a camera and start filming. YouTube is getting 100 million views a day, and it's only going to grow. And I do all my videos with just one camera and me, mostly. And I have 2.6 million views. So that's how you make an interesting story with a little bit of background. And it's very, very easy. Okay.